Why is it we only take people from shithole countries, right? Why can't we have some people from Norway, Sweden, just a few? Let us have a few.
Well, I'll tell you what, President Trump's plan to get more people from places like Norway just became a reality. Here's why. Today, Trump's long-awaited gold card to citizenship became available, which means if you have $1 million to buy one, you can skip the line and obtain permanent residency in America. Corporations, they have the opportunity to spend $2 million if they want one for their employees. So should the size of your wallet make you more worthy of citizenship? So I asked the host of the Aggressive Progressive podcast, Chris Hahn, and the GOP candidate for California Governor, Steve Hilton. Thank you so much, both of you, for coming on. Chris, I'm struggling to figure out why this is a bad thing, right? If you're talking about market-based, merit-based, maybe top the line coming into the country, we know the whole process the way it usually is red tape, it's bureaucratic. Why is this a bad thing?
Because entry into the United States and citizenship here is not like getting a membership at Mar-a-Lago, right? We all have our immigrant stories. Not a lot of them have millions of dollars to spend on citizenship. They all have struggles, and they came here to escape those struggles and build better lives for their families. I am the grandson of immigrants on both sides of my family. One side escaped Hitler, the other side escaped Mussolini. And they ran for their lives with only the clothes on their backs, and they built a good life here in America, and they contributed to our society. President Trump believes that only the rich are worthy of anything. And if you are a supporter of his right now and you are not a multimillionaire, he could care less what you think.
Well, Steve, what do you think? You think that wealthy people, wealthy corporations should skip the line, have the ability to do that?
Well, Chris and I, we have a lot in common on that front. You know, my parents were refugees from communism in Hungary. I grew up in England, and now I'm an immigrant here to America, building a new life here. And I agree with much of what Chris said, but it's not the only type of immigration we've had in America. And in fact, this program is a revamping and a simplification of a program we've already had, the EB-5 visa program in America, where the idea was to attract entrepreneurs with investment ideas for America, same amount of money, $1 million. In the 25 years of that program, barely 200,000 people have actually managed to get through the bureaucratic process. What they're trying to do here is to speed it up, simplify it, and make sure that, as a lot of people make the case, that we need immigration to keep America growing and thriving and flourishing. And we need all kinds of immigration as long as it's legal. And so, yeah, I'm in favor of this, just as I'm in favor of legal immigration across the board, including for the kind of refugees that Chris rightly mentions.
Before I ask Chris's take on this, Steve, would you pay $1 million?
Oh, sorry. Well, I didn't have to. We came in the old-fashioned way.
Would you pay $1 million?
If I had the investment, if I had the ability to make that kind of investment, there's nowhere better to start and grow a business than America. Of course you'd want to be here. And of course we want to attract great people who can contribute to the great story of this country and keep us growing.
Steve Hilton Investment Fund. I like it. All right, Chris, so why is this different? Why is this different than past programs where you link money to citizenship? We've seen that before. Why is this one different?
EB-5 doesn't necessarily grant you citizenship. You still have to go through the process. It grants you a visa to come here and invest money here. And sometimes the EB-5 is actually for the money itself, not even for the individual attached to it. So it's very, very different, and it's about building businesses here within the United States of America. And then you have to go through the citizenship process on top of the EB-5 process, which is why it is so arduous, because becoming a citizen in the United States of America is a precious thing. And I got to tell you, when the President of the United States is halting citizenship ceremonies up in Massachusetts over the last couple of days for people who did everything right and followed the rules to become citizens in this country because he didn't like where they came from, I think we've got to reevaluate, what it means for, what presidential power means in this area. And I think that this president is being very un-American, unfair. And, I think he should come back to New York, go to the harbor, and look at the statue and read the poem.
Well, it's not saying people can't come in. What it is saying is giving an opportunity for people to fast track, Chris. I guess the question would be if it's two things, right? Two benefits. Money coming in, not a bad thing. And they still have to go through a full verification process, I would imagine. Kristi Noem said it's a vigorous vetting process. I mean, they still have to go through it.
You know,
so money coming in, and it's like,
look,
why is it a bad thing? And again, if they can afford it or be sponsored by a corporation, is that really that different than what we've seen, let's say, from H-1B1? Excuse me, H-1B.
This president values money over all else. I would not trust a vetting process attached to $1 million in the hands of this president. Not once, not ever.
You're so cynical.
You know, you got $1 million, great.
You're so cynical.
Come on in. Yeah, you know. I mean, look at. I mean, money is his thing. It's his god, right? I think that America is a place where.
Yeah, I hear you.
America is a place where
I just want Steve to jump in because again, I hear what you're saying. You question whether or not someone might be able to buy their way through. I get it in a way, or skip through it. Steve, just what's your response to that?
So look, the American people spoke very clearly at the last election that they wanted our immigration system to be brought under control, managed properly, the border closed, immigration controlled. There is massive public support for immigration as long as there's government control of immigration. The last administration lost control of it. And what's interesting is you still see Democrats, right here in California, for example, we've just seen a proposal from San Francisco, totally in line with that extreme open borders ideology, the first in the nation kind of law to block immigration enforcement from using city facilities. This is not what people voted for. We want immigration, but it has to be properly managed and controlled. And I think this is part of that.
Well, Steve, I'll counter that for a second. So a big part of the immigration debate right now is we're seeing illegal immigrants or people coming into the country who commit crimes. And that becomes the wave, right? That becomes the talking point against immigration or against illegal migration. What happens if somebody goes through this program, pay $1 million, maybe $2 million through a corporation, they commit a really bad crime? I mean, is this something that could backfire against the Trump administration?
Well, I imagine that they'll then be targeted for removal under the current approach to illegal immigration, which is if you're here illegally and on top of that original breaking of the law, you commit another crime, then you've got to get out. And that is a massively widely held, widely supported view across the board in America, across all political parties. And it's just common sense. You know, if you're a guest in this country, it's the proudest thing. As exactly as Chris said, it's an incredible honor to become an American. There is no higher honor in this whole area of discussion than to become an American. But if you abuse that by breaking our laws, then you need to be kicked out.
No, it's 100%. Chris, I'll give you the final word. You think people are going to jump on board on this?
Oh, of course they will. I think that there will be lots of takers for this around the world. I mean, who wouldn't want to come here? And if you have the money to do it, great, come on over. But I think it's not a replacement for comprehensive immigration reform in this country. And I agree with Steve. Americans voted for immigration reform, but nobody has given them anything other than a closed border. And yes, that's what they wanted. But they also want immigration reform because they do understand that this country was built on the back of immigrants, and the continuing refreshment of people coming into this country with fresh ideas has been great for America.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.